Good morning, my dear students. Welcome to online classes. This is C.H. John Paul, lecturer in English of Sri Venkateswara College of Arts and Science, Amlapuram, affiliated to Adhikavinani University, Rajamahendravaram, who have been discussing about the fourth semester CSS, English CSS Communication Soft Skills paper. First unit, second unit completed. Now we are discussing third unit. In the first video already discussing elements of effective paraphrasing. Now the next most important question: what are the stages and techniques or strategies of paraphrasing? Paraphrasing. What is the paraphrasing? Already I explained. It must reflect the entire meaning of the given text, no less, no more than what the text contains. This is paraphrasing. And techniques or strategies or stages of the paragraph. In the previous lesson, we have learned what paraphrasing is and what characteristics a paraphrase, but how do we write an effective paraphrase? We write an effective paraphrase. Stages in paraphrasing. Paraphrasings are involves three stages, namely pre-paraphrasing stage or writing stage or editing stage. Pre-paraphrasing stage, next writing stage, third editing stage. First one pre-paraphrasing stage. Pre-paraphrasing stage includes reading the given text, prose piece or poem, slowly and carefully to understand it correctly and completely. It also involves nothing down the main ideas. This is pre-paraphrasing stage. In this stage, you have maintained some strategies or techniques. Pre-paraphrasing stage. The another name of pre-paraphrasing stage is while taking notes. First point, when you are reading and taking notes, that is at pre-paraphrasing stage, don't copy the verb time from the passage unless you think you would be like to quote it. Second, make a note only of the author's main points. You don't have to use full sentences. Third one, in your notes, you can start translating the original text into your own words. Keep in mind that your notes the original idea. Last one, Make sure to note down the source or sources and the page numbers in the source, which you can make a proper reference which while writing the paraphrase. Writing the paraphrase. So these are 4 strategies or techniques in the stage of pre-paraphrasing stage. And the second one, writing stage. Writing stage. Writing stage marks presenting the noted ideas in plain and simple English. Simple English. First one, while writing, rely on your notes rather than on the original text. These are techniques or strategies. You will find it much easier to avoid the author's words and sentences. Next, convert the theme ideas from your notes into complete grammatical sentences. Complete grammatical sentences. Next, give a reference of the source wherever necessary. Wherever necessary. You may have to use synonyms, different parts of speech, indirect speeches, different voice, active and passive, and different sentence structures. This is while writing, during stage or writing stage. The next one is editing stage. Editing stage. దీని పోస్ట్ రైటింగ్ స్టేజ్ లేదా ఆఫ్టర్ రైటింగ్ స్టేజ్ అని కూడా అనొచ్చు. ఎడిటింగ్ స్టేజ్ ensures that the paraphrase has all the features of a good paraphrase and the write up in free from any errors like spelling, grammatical, semiotic, etc. So go to the original text again or look at original text again. Ensure that your paraphrase is accurate. Check or make sure that your paraphrase is complete and correct in all the respects. See that it is faithful to the original text. And ensure that you have paraphrased all the ideas in your own words. Fourth, correct the ungrammatical sentences, spelling errors if any. Check if there are any mistakes of any type of and correct them. So go through the sample paraphrases provided in the previous lessons before doing the exercise. Now I explain 2 poems, 1 passage, 1 general. So try to understand. Paraphrase following poems using the strategies. Before going the paraphrase, one more question is there. I explain now, then I will do the paraphrasings. Okay. What are the steps or guidelines for good paragraph writing? Some steps are there. Some of the guidelines for paraphrasing either a text or a poem are as follows. First one, read the poem passage slowly and carefully understand its central idea. This is very important. Slowly and carefully read, try to understand what is the central idea. Second, when you have grasped the main theme, idea, read the poem or passage. Read the poem or passage. Again to understand all the details. Again to understand all the details. Note all unusual words and expressions as well as similes, metaphors, epigrams and other figures of speech which will have to be explained in simple and direct language. Next, note all inversion which will have to be changed into prose order. Long sentences have to be broken up into shorter ones. Direct speech should be converted into indirect speech. The full meaning of phrases and expressions should be brought out. The next one, see whether sentences have to be rearranged in order to make the meaning clear. Also, whether there is any repetition of thought which will have to be avoided or removed. Next, change rhetorical questions and addresses into plain statements. The next, paraphrase should be written in your own words, but every word in the original need not be changed. Technical, difficult, artic, unusual and observe words should be changed into simple ordinary words. If you are writing the paraphrase in indirect speech and you begin with the words, the poet says, don't repeat the words or their varieties like the poet adds And the poet further says, as far as length is concerned, there are no limits stated. Normally, the prose passage is longer than the piece of poetry that has been paraphrased. The regularity of the rhythm of poetry should be modified to the irregular rhythm of prose. The poetic vocabulary should be by prose constructions. Next one. Useful verbs, connecting words, and explanations which have been omitted in the poem should be supplied. Last one, provide references or citations wherever necessary. These are steps and guidelines of writing good summary. Writing good summary. Alright. The next one, paraphrase the following poems using the strategies and techniques suggested in the lesson. Look at here, one poem is there. The poem is Birds Sanctuary. Birds Sanctuary. I read this poem and explain it. How to do the paraphrase? How to do the paraphrase? In our quiet garden, wakes a magic tumult on winged choristers that keep the festival of dawn. Boldly rise the cold in richly cadenced rapture from lyric throats of amber, of envy and fawn. The bulbul and the oriole, the honey bird and sama flit among high boards that dip and dip with nectar and with dough. Upon the glass the wandering gull parades its sea washed silver. The hope and the kingfisher their bronze, the sapphire blue. Wild grey peons dreaming of home made their tree tops. Fill their beaks with silken down, the slender brown wings. But the judge green grassy parrots are only grey marauders, and pass upon their sunward fight to plunder red draping. In your gracious garden there is joy and fostering freedom, nesting place and singing praise for every feathered thing. O master of the birds, grains and structure, and settled also to homing, bird that bears a broken wing. This is the poem. So how to do the paraphrase? How to do the paraphrase? దీని paraphrase చేయాలి ఇప్పుడు మనం. ఎట్లా చేయాలి? సో సమ్ వర్డ్స్కి మీనింగ్ మనకు తెలియాలి. సో paraphrase చేస్తాను చూడండి. ఓ ఫాదర్ ఆఫ్ ది బర్డ్స్, ఓ ఫాదర్ ఆఫ్ ది బర్డ్స్, your peaceful garden begins the day. Your peaceful gardens begin the day with the musical and magical singing of my birds. They make the happy morning open with joy, music, and dance. Birds, animals, trees, precious stones, bulbuls, orioles, honeybirds, sama, fanas, etc. jump around various branches and twigs that are overflowing with sweet nectar. Nectar means amrutam, mudringa paadam. Seagulls are walking across the grasslands with their silvery wings. The ancient hoopoes ఒక రకమైన పూర్వకాల పక్షి అని, and the colorful kingfishers spread their beauty all around. Pigeon power, with a hope of making their nests among tree tops and carrying soft, silky, tender beyond wings in their beaks. Green gypsy parrots going round the garden are looking for the red ripe figs to gulp to their food. So many creatures find peace, pleasure, freedom, home, and many more in your beautiful and bountiful garden. Oh, kind home provider to birds, oh Father, please extend the same secure shelter to the weak and injured birds too. This is the meaning or paraphrasing of the bird stand sanctuary. So next one is how to do this poem. The road not taken. This is also very important and beautiful poem, written by Robert Frost. Written by Robert Frost. This is a deciding story, thinking. The poet in dilemma also in this poem. Two roads are divided in a yellow wood. Two roads are divided in a yellow wood. And sorry, I can't travel both. And be one traveler long I stood and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. This is first stanza. Second stanza, the look then took the other just as for, and having perhaps the better climb, because it was grassy and wanted way, though as for the passing they had warned them really about the same. This is second stanza. Third stanza, and both that morning equally In leaves, snow step and trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day. At knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. Ever come back. This is third stanza. Fourth stanza. I shall be telling this with a shy somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads divided in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all differences. And made all differences. This is the poem. And how to do the paraphrase? Now we are doing paraphrase. Paraphrase. One day the narrator was walking through a yellow because of autumn before falling the leaves turn yellow. అంటే శిశిర ఋతువు కావడం వల్ల ఆకులు రాల్చే ముందు పసుపు వర్ణంలోకి మారుతూ ఉంటాయి. ఇన్ ఫారెస్ట్ he noticed that the pathway he was walking along branched off into two waves ahead of him. నడుచుకుంటూ వెళ్తే రెండు మార్గాలు కనిపించి ఎదురుకుండా. He waited there quite for some time. అక్కడే కొంచెంసేపు ఆగిపోయాడు. He could not walk along both the paths at the same time. It is highly impossible. So he examined the first way as far as he could see. Then he looked along the second road closely. At first both appeared equal good. Then the second path looked a little better. It was full of grass, not used by many. Therefore the narrator felt that it was good for him. But in that particular morning, no one had passed along either of the two roads. Fallen leaves on both the paths were not crushed by any footsteps. Ultimately, the narrator chose the second path. He wanted to try the first one, if at all needed, on some other day. He knew well that going along the second path would take him further and further, and coming back would be a little doubtful. The narrator was visualizing what it would be like after so many years from them. He would be with a shy bee telling others that he had chosen the less traveled path when he had come across a junction. He would add that his option for variety had resulted in a lot of differences. This is the road not taken poem explanation. The writer didn't take the right way. He took the less traveled because of many years passed on. Time wasted. In front of two waves he stand in junction. He is also in dilemma. And then he take travelless road. Finally is undoubtable. So you and me also think before you take a right decision that is better for you and me also. And one more example we will see in general topic, that is paraphrase the following passage using the strategies and techniques learned in the lesson. Announced by Prime Minister Narendra Modi in a special addresses to the nation on Thursday evening. On Thursday evening. Currency noted of rupees 500 and rupees 1000 denominations will not be legal tender beginning November 9. This is aimed at curbing the negative impact of fake currency, black money, corruption, and terrorism on the nation's economy. New notes of 500s and 2000 notes will be released and circulated soon. The end of the legal tender of the 500 notes and 1000 notes comes into effect the midst between Tuesday and Wednesday. ATM will not work on November 9 and at some places on November 10 as well. 500 notes and 1000 notes can be deposit at post offices and banks without any charge till December 30. Banks will be closed for public business on November 9 to allow them to tackle the rush of people who might want to deposit their notes. Cashless fund transfer will be remain unaffected. Your money is yours, you will not lose anything. The government will ensure that. This is the sudden breaking news on the date of November 9th in India. So do the paraphrase. From November 9, 2016, ₹500 and ₹1000 notes would no longer be legally valid papers. This was to control the evil effects of duplicate notes, uncounted money, fool means of making money, anti-national activities, etc. on our country's developing economy. $500 notes from November 9, 2016, 500 notes and ₹1000 notes would no longer be legally valid papers. This is was control the evil effects of duplicate notes, uncounted money, fewer means of making money, anti-national activities, etc. On countries developing economy, 2000 rupees notes and 500 notes of new format will be printed and put in use for public. The end of 500 notes and 1000 notes came into force at 12 midnight 12 midnight between 8th and 9th November 2016 between Tuesday and Wednesday. As a result, ATMs would be closed down on 9th November and some would not function on 10th too. Banks and post office would accepted these cancelled 500 notes and 1000 rupees notes till 30th December 2016. And no charges would be collected for this on 9th November. Banks would not be open for public transactions. This was to make themselves ready to face the evolving scenario. Make themselves ready to face the evaluating scenario. There would not be any change in online transfer of funds. The PM ensured public that common people would not lose anything. Their money would be safe, the government would protect their interests. This is the paraphrase of the paragraph. And one more thing is on parents and children, of parents and children, of parents and children. Another passage. So here are there. Look at and do the paraphrase. నేను ఇది పారాఫ్రేజ్ చేస్తాను వినండి. సో మీరు ఇక్కడ చదివితే ఒక క్లారిటీ వస్తుంది. పారాఫ్రేజ్ చేస్తున్నాను. ఆఫ్ పేరెంట్స్ అండ్ చిల్డ్రన్స్. Parents have pleasures, pains, sufferings about their children. The feelings are private to them. They can't always make their feelings public. Children make parents take their hard work as pleasure. They add to parents' suffering too. They enhance parents' anxiety about life. They also make parents forget about death. Anyhow, continuation of generation through children is a quality of animals. But men should make their memory live forever, not though their children, through their merit, their great works, their noble activities, in most cases childless persons performed activities. In most cases childless persons performed best and left their memories in their great achievements. In such cases their minds succeed, though their bodies failed. People with no children thus cared more for future generations. Parents are leaned towards their children if they are new to the experience. They see their children as though who continue their generations. their generations. Parents cannot always be exactly equal in their affection toward children. This inequality is more visible in mothers than in fathers. That is why Solomon said that an intelligent son enjoys his father's company, whereas a cruel son hates his mother. We come across homes where, among several children, the eldest are respected and the youngest are spoiled, and the middle ones are insignificant except in rare cases. But in some cases, the middle ones prove to be the best. Parents being strict in giving freedom or money to children turns out to be a grave mistake. This leads children to behave cheaply, associated themselves with bad company, resort to evil tricks, and spend excessively when they get a lot of money. Therefore, supervising their expenditure is better than not giving money at all. Parents and teachers too are foolish in creating jealousy and envy among brothers and sisters. This rivalry grows with children, and when they become men and women, this destroys their healthy relations. Italians are very wise in this regard. They regarded their own children, their nephews and nieces, and their relatives as equal. They treat them all as similar members of a single group. Nature also endorses their view in this respect. For many nephews look like their uncles. Parents should also be careful in selecting careers for their children. This they should do at the earliest stage. For children are more adaptable when they are quite young. The older they become, the more resistant they grow. Anyhow, parents should not exercise excessive control over their children, even if the affection or care is good. Better they are in their limits till the wise proverb says, opt for the most suitable vacation, and over time it becomes easier and more pleasant. Younger ones are generally luckier. If the elders are disowned, the luck becomes less likely. This is the paraphrasing number of exercise you have done in this class. Thank you so much, my dear students. Listen carefully, follow these all guidelines.